1. You're listening to the Jules and Coffee Hour, sharing the stories of Blizzard gamers around the world. Pull up a chair. We're glad you're here. Welcome to episode 7 of the Jules and Coffee Hour. I'm Jules.
And I'm Coffee, and I want to wish you a Happy New Year! Woo!
That was intensely awesome. That was intensely awesome. We're right smack in the middle between Christmas and New Year's. It's like we have both worlds happening at the same time. We've just gotten off the Christmas high. We're prepping for this whole New Year, and everyone's kind of going, oh, we gotta start making some plans.
It's coming quick.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to make their goals.
And we are going to make them with you today. You're going to see this. It is a Thursday afternoon. We're recording this on our not normal day, but that's okay because we're trying to fit it into family and holiday stuff, and we want to make sure you have content. Yes. So you get us on a Thursday, and I like it.
This will premiere on either Monday or Tuesday, like right when, so this will premiere on Bill Reese in podcast format. So anyone should be able to listen to it then for the new year.
Yeah, hell, I'll probably put it up tomorrow for podcasting.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll see when the VOD will come up from Kai because it's been a busy time for all of these lovely things. But the podcast version will come right up because I can do that. I can control that.
You're just on top. Yeah,
I'm on that.
You're the woman.
I'm on that shit. So we are so happy to be back. I feel like I haven't seen Coffee much. No one's really seen Coffee much because it's been a really busy time with family and that kind of thing. So we're going to talk a little bit today about our goals for 2019, and we're going to do a little reflection of the things that had happened in 2018. I think that's really kind of appropriate to see where you've been and to look at where you're going. So in this episode, we're talking about what we plan to accomplish or what we'd like to accomplish. And yeah, I think that'll do it.
And more.
Oh, and more for sure. Absolutely. So I'm just going to hit it. I'm going to hit it with the topic of the week right now so we can dig right in because we have a lot to cover. We do. It's been a while. All right, we'll be right there. It's time for the topic of the week. It is time for the topic of the week. So maybe we should get into a little bit about so we pre-recorded 2 episodes before the holiday, before Christmas, we should say. We planned on doing 3, but we were overtly ambitious, I will say.
2 in a row put us in such an emotional state. It became very clear to me that in the sense of quality, we should sit on that for a little bit and maybe stew on our thoughts a little bit for the 3rd one. So I'm glad we did that.
Yeah.
But
I was going to muscle through. I was going to do it. And then I watched the VOD. You were great because you were the one that suggested maybe we wait because your schedule would allow us to kind of tuck one in between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I was like, oh, hallelujah. Thank you.
Yeah.
because it's pretty intense to do this kind of a podcast and then do it back to back and be up and be, laying it out emotionally and being really, really real about it. So that's it. So as we recap a little bit, we recorded those 2 episodes on Thursday, which I think the 13th of December. And not 2 hours later, we got the bombshell that we did not expect about our favorite game and kind of the reason why we've all kind of congregated together as HeroesHearth fans.
Yeah, it's interesting because, people were like watching or listening to those podcasts and being like, they don't talk at all about HGC, but there's so much content in here that's relevant in a way to how I'm feeling about this right now. I think that's just because you and I have conversations about some very universal topics that relate to a lot of things that are going on in our lives. So I think that's great. That's a good thing. But with that being said, none of what we spoke about on those 2 episodes was directly in response to HGC news. So
yeah, because we hadn't heard it yet.
No,
it was still pending. And so even like the one we did about favorite Twitch moments, and I hear myself talking about some of the stuff that we And then we listened to it, and I mean, I put a disclaimer on the podcast version saying this was recorded before the news, like we didn't know.
Yeah.
And so,
Wow.
oh
It's
man, because I
so
know
weird to
people would have
think
probably been
about.
scratching their heads.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and so I guess like I wanted to bring that up mainly just because when we sat down to record those 3 episodes back to back, I think that this episode of goals for 2019 would have looked very different than it is going to look right now.
I think so.
For yeah, I mean, I know for me, would you say the same for yourself?
I mean, I would say less so for myself. I mean, HGC was something so dear to my heart, and I was very much looking forward to spending more time out on the road visiting those events, the
Yeah.
lands that were going to be taking place. Not all of the lands
Yeah.
take place at the Blizzard Arena or down in Anaheim. Some of them are, they've been in Seattle, Vegas, and other places. And I was going to travel wherever those were going to be. That was going to be a huge thing for me, but it is not so. And I am going to deeply, deeply miss that for this coming year. That was something I was super excited about. However, Blizzard, I mean, Here's the Storm is my favorite game.
Yeah.
I have a deep connection to the game. I can't even explain it. It's to this day, it's the only game now in my adulthood that gives me that magical feeling of almost of being a kid and playing a game. It's the only game that sparks that sort of magic in me now. So no
Yeah.
matter what the future for Heroes is, and I'm optimistic about it. We've heard some news about the content that's rolling out in 2019. No matter what comes of that game, I will be at the events, any events that happen for the game, whether it's BlizzCon or another event. I will be there supporting Heroes in whatever shape or form that takes. So
Yeah. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to say we forgot to do the checklist that we normally do, which is are all notifications off?
yes,
I don't know if they are.
I don't think I got one. I actually was good this time, and I turned off everything. I'm pretty sure.
But I'm just literally going, we should probably turn notifications off.
Yeah.
I know this is not a podcast flow thing, but it's probably gonna save us in the end. So anyway, while Coffee is looking at that, the HTC news for me is has definitely kind of rocked my core a bit because I have been an HTC fan since 2015 when it all started. And so it was such a huge part of my free time, and I was kind of aiming to make it a focus of my career. I was, really hoping that there would be a place for me within somewhere with the HGC, and that was why I started Heroes News to begin with. That's why I started the podcast. It was because of HGC. Thank goodness that there was forethought and suggestions from like Workhorse and other people that I integrate things about interviewing people from the community and integrating news into the show, because I still have content that I can create, but it's not all the content that I was hoping to be making, and so it really it's been like I've dealt with it, right? But then I am literally just, I don't know what a world without that esport every weekend looks like in my world. For the last 3 years, that's what it's looked like, pretty much. So, like I'm striving really really hard to stay optimistic, but in the course of the time when HGC was removed from existence, like everything has changed for me. And so I sit here right now and I'm a little like I'm a little raw. I'm gonna struggle with words a little bit because it's just like I had said, if I had been recording this episode on the 13th, it would have been a very different goals episode than it's gonna be today.
Yeah.
Really different.
Yeah.
So it's hard. So HGC no longer being here, and it's part of the goals for Heroes Hearth have changed a bit because we're now focusing on other things besides an esports team. But what has transpired for you and gotten to, obviously there are people that have followed your journey this year in 2018. But for those who have not, kind of getting you to where you are today and then looking forward, let's start there, because I think that is going to be super interesting. I'm very curious to see what you've got on the plate.
Okay. So like you, I followed HGC from the beginning, and it's been just before it was HGC, I don't know, it was like Fall Championship or whatever. I've been to Vegas, I don't even know what these were, but Dorm. I was at the first Dorm at the Shrine. I mean, I've followed the journey of this esport, and in a way, it's my only esport that I've ever followed.
Yeah.
And in another way, it's the only sport that I've ever followed. I don't know if a lot of you guys don't know this about me, but I don't really follow sports. I used to follow basketball a long time ago, but I don't anymore. So this is my only sport at all. E or not. E or no E. This was it for me. And it was just very cool to be connected to something very universal that I could communicate with and share feelings and passions with for other viewers. And this was something I did every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when we were watching. It was just kind of like, that's what we did on the weekend, was watch HGC, and that was it. So it's gonna be missed. It's really gonna be missed. And so much of my journey has just been, before I started streaming, I followed this game and its development and its competitive scene. And the reason I started streaming was because I learned that you didn't need to necessarily be the best at this video game to be a content creator and create a community and laugh and be silly with one another. And in a way, HGC was that, helped me realize that, because I saw all these professionals competing at the highest level. And originally I strived to be like that. I used to take this game way more seriously. And as soon as I realized, and there's a bunch of content creators that reached out and explained that to me. It's not necessarily about being the best, but HGC was the goal for me. And I would compete at a very high level. And then once I realized that that's not necessarily how you need to grow a stream, that's when my stream started to, I think, take off, and we started to have a little bit more fun. So with that being said, even as my stream was growing, HGC was always something that we discussed on stream. And because I think our community is at a point where we have people of so many different backgrounds and skill levels, and some people are grandmaster that watch the stream, some people are bronze, and we have this huge variance. And that's why viewer games are hard, by the way, because you get people that are like so many different skill levels in there, and it's hard to balance teams. But I think that's one of the things that was really cool about starting a community. And one thing we all shared as the community was growing is that we watched HGC. I think almost everyone in the coffee club was an avid HGC watcher, and that was just another thing that we could share. And we could discuss that while we were being silly and laughing and things like that. So the presence of that competitive scene is going to be missed for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the coffee club wasn't always the coffee club. We started out as Darth Coffee, and it's so funny because there's actually been like 2 name changes for the channel. One was it was Darth Coffee, but coffee was spelled with a 0 and 2 3s, so it was Darth_C0FF33. That was name change 1, and it became just regular Darth_Coffee with no numbers. And then more recently, it became Coffee Club_TV, and it's just it's been a year of learning things about myself, making incredible friendships, obviously branding the stream differently and setting us up for the best future we can possibly have. But it's just been magical. And when I started streaming in February or whatever this year, I had no idea that I would be sitting here now with you discussing stories and feelings and things like that. It was just something that was not even on my radar. I could have never even dreamed of this. It's just been such a wild, uncalculated ride.
Yeah.
And I hope that 2019 we can continue the same journey. We're still going to be on a Heroes of the Storm journey. It's going to look a little different because there's no HGC, but I hope you guys will take the ride with me and we can see what happens this time next year. But we're definitely going to be playing Heroes of the Storm the majority of the time because it's just the only game that makes me feel that magic.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about that people are really struggling with, and I think you and I are both doing the same, is that there is a sense of uncertainty and just the unknown. We assumed a lot of things. We assumed that HGC would never go away. We assumed that this game would just continue on the path that it was continuing on. And that path, though it is continuing, is admittedly going to change. And so we're all just a little like, I've been thinking about this, is like we're all in mourning a bit, and we're also very gun shy and uncertain because the things that we knew to be true are no longer the things that we can know for certain that they are to be true.
Yeah.
And that's a tough pill to swallow. It's a tough thing to come to terms with.
That's a good point, actually. So just to piggyback off that, one of the biggest accomplishment, I think like the biggest accomplishment for my stream this year was so Blizzard is now spotlighting the stream on the Blizzard launcher. And that was something that I didn't think would happen for another year. I thought if I ever were to ever accomplish that goal, it would at least be 2 years after I started streaming, because I think it's just such a huge goal for me. It ended up happening this year, shortly after BlizzCon, which blew my mind. So we had 2 launcher streams, and then boom, HGC news. And suddenly this big goal for me became overshadowed by, oh crap, is this going to be taken away as soon as it was, it came to fruition? Like, did I achieve this huge goal of mine and then now it's going to vanish? No longer will Blizzard do Twitch promotions for Heroes of the Storm because they're changing how they do HGC and everything. Is this another casualty of this process? And because there were Twitch promotions scheduled through the end of the year. And we found out after the HGC news that we were not going to be doing launcher streams the following week. And we were all like, oh no, this huge goal, and now it's gone. It's just, but it is not a casualty. We found out just recently Blizzard will pick up with the Twitch promotions, and the Heroes of the Storm Spotlight streamers will be on the launcher again the second week of January. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it'll be back to normal-ish, sort of. So, but that was one of the things where the news hit, and it was just like, wow, so much is, all these plans I was making based off of this concrete accomplishment possibly have to change now. My whole kind of plan is just out the window, but it's not out the window. It's just different.
Yes.
And we'll see how that works out.
Yes. And that I think has been the challenge for a lot of people, has been to kind of come back to that center of things are okay now. Like we had a big fallout, a big bombshell, and we have to see the world through the eyes of the aftermath. And the aftermath has many questions, and people still to this, like, they're still asking those questions. Is HGC not, or is Heroes dead? Is the game going to be supported? Will these streamers have the ability to make a living off of streaming this game that they built their community around? I mean, those are real and scary questions that people are still asking. And it is not, it's just, it's a part of life. It's a part of, sometimes things just happen and you can't control that. It's about what you do with the information and what you decide to do with yourself. And I watched some people, like Decibel Hots in the chat just said, I watched a hot streamer uninstall the game yesterday. And a good number of people did do that and said, I'm done. I'm out. This is not where I want to be. And then there were other streamers that came in and said, you know what? The game's still here and I want to be too because I love the game, just like Coffee said. And there's things happening now. There's fundraisers going on for like leagues, competition leagues. Heroes Hearth, we're working on something ourselves. It is there's from the ashes rises a new day is the look of it. And so we've all gone through all of this together as a community, as a Heroes Hearth community, because it hit every single one of us. It was like this casualty that came in, and then we had to decide how we were going to step forward. What was our path? But none of us were going to be the same again, which is kind of it seems so doom and gloom, but it's true.
Yeah,
like
we're
not the same as we were.
And I think that everyone, content creator or not, you're gonna look at this news and you're gonna have to do what I think is sort of a rebuilding time, where you're gonna rebuild your faith in a community, or you're gonna rebuild your confidence in a game structure, or you're gonna look at essentially why you do what you do when something like this happens. Some people, I mean, some people do things for various reasons. If I was streaming HOTS to make money and, afford a living, this would be bigger news to me, I think, than other people, right? If this was my full-time job, sole source of income, this would be huge. I'm fortunate enough to be in a situation where I'm not streaming Here's the Storm every day for you guys because I want to make a living doing that. I'm doing it because it's my favorite thing to do in the world. So it's different slightly. And people that are relying on the game to make a living and to compete at the highest level, or to create content and make a living that way, I understand what Decibel HOTS watched the other day. I can understand that reaction. I do. So
so we are all in this kind of moment where we are, as a community, we're figuring out where we stand within that. I've seen people who have been coming into even the Heroes Hearth chat room and just saying, I needed to take a break away from watching the game and the community because I was overwhelmed by the news. It was hard. And that, absolutely, like I completely understand it. I understand the people who uninstalled the game on the day of the announcement because they felt betrayed and they felt that they were lied to. A lot of the pros did that. And the pros now, a lot of them are looking for what their path is next. And so, and for me, it just feels like I am very much between I'm working on what path is next. And because the honest truth is, like, I'm going to keep making Heroes news as long as there's content to support it, right? But a large portion of the people who were competing in, doing like the competition stuff about HGC, like, there's not really an interview there anymore because we're moving in different directions now. And so I'm still looking at this and saying, can I continue to make the content that I wanted to make and that I really want to continue to make?
There's probably interviews in terms of what's next for them, but but I think a lot of people don't even know what's next for them at this point.
It's too soon.
Yeah, it's just too soon. It's just too soon. Exactly.
Yeah, everyone is still and it's only been 2.5 weeks, or has it been 2 weeks now? Just 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks, I think. Yeah.
It's just 2 weeks. It feels like a lifetime right now.
Yeah.
But it's from the day that we're recording this. We've had 2 weeks to digest this information, and a lot of us are no better understanding of it than we were before.
Yeah.
So so I think when you're thinking of, if you are one of those people, if you had put your positioning around the game, your income, your goals, your plans surround that game, just know that it's okay to not have a direction for 2019, because this right now we are in this high filled pressure moment where everybody says, what are you planning to do for 2019? You got to have a goal system. You got to have all the answers. And I don't have all the answers. Like, I got another bomb dropped on me yesterday. Like, I am officially jobless as of yesterday. And I knew that it was possibly coming. I knew that it was, last week I knew that it was possibly coming, and it confirmed last night. And so, jobless right before the new year. And I'm like, oh crap. So, what do you do? How do you set goals, right? How do you say, right, exactly.
It's
so
tough to set a goal when so much is uncertain, right?
Yeah. So you make short-term goals rather than massive long-term ones. And that's where I literally did not know what I was going to say in this conversation today. So I'm it's totally coming out now as I'm forming it.
That's good.
Short-term goals are crucial, and especially for those who are, who had employment, the casters, the players, the pros, the orgs. It's like short-term goals. What is it that we want to do? What is it that we need to do right now? For me, it literally is my basic needs have to be met. I need a paycheck, and I need it now. So where I am right at this moment is I'm applying for jobs like mad, but I'm also signed up with an employment agency, and I will temp job if I have to, just so that I can pay the bills, because I had intended that 2019 was going to be the year where I was going to go full-time content creation, where I was going to be in it. I was going to be podcasting. I was going to be streaming. That was it. I was going to just go in. So it didn't turn out that way. And was there a crazy mourning period? Yes. Is it still happening? Yes, because it literally happened. Like, I am still reeling from news from last night, but I can't sit there and say that my long-term goals are gone. Like, these are the things I wanted to do, right? These are the things that I wanted more than anything. And so the short-term goal is get a paycheck, figure it out, get a paycheck, and then you will then be able to work on those goals once those basic needs are met.
Once you feel comfortable, you can rationally make better choices and plans, if you feel a level of comfort. Yeah, exactly.
And so, had I recorded this episode on the 13th, I would have said to you, this is the year that I'm going to do it. I am building up a stream. I am building up a community. I'm working on more podcasts. I want to do more, I'm producing podcasts that other people are doing within the community. I'm going to do this. And then now we're here. And now we're here. So the amazing thing about change is that it can, and I've talked about this in the past, is that basically there's two types of change. There's the change that you initiate, the things that you say, hey, I'm going to move to a new city, or I'm going to buy a house, or I'm going to get married, or I'm going to plan to have a baby, or I'm going to get a new job and change my job. Those are the things that the change that you control, that you initiate. Right. And then there's the change that you don't initiate, that happens to you. You get sick, you lose your job, you get a divorce if you didn't choose it. Somebody passes away. And though you deal with change in similar ways, it can affect you in very different ones So what we had with HGC was the change we can't control. That was the change we couldn't control, and we had to choose how we reacted to that change, how we responded to that change, what we did about that change, versus us saying, I am leaving HGC behind. I am not being involved with this anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different skill sets that go into this right now. And so I am dealing with a lot of the things that I cannot change.
Yep.
Like back to back to back. And it's just like, oh, that sucks. It's really, really hard.
The flip side of that is that historically speaking, when you look at any great company or artist, you know, when something like this happens, it creates a spark. I think change makes that spark, and only when something like this happens can you truly achieve some really incredible stuff, because it's when you get most creative. It's when your mind starts thinking about things you wouldn't necessarily consider before.
Yeah.
And in a way, situations like this and events like this can create such amazing and awesome content, because content creators are thinking big again. They're not thinking about small details of something they're comfortable doing. They're thinking about big ideas, and we wouldn't necessarily get those ideas if something like this didn't happen. So there's different layers to it to consider.
Yeah, because it puts you outside your comfort zone.
Yes.
And you said that earlier. You have to be comfortable in order to be able to create, but you also can create under uncomfortable situations.
It's a balance. Yeah, it's a fine balance.
Yeah. And it's amazing how creative you can be when you're faced with the ultimate decision of, will I be able to pay my bills next month?
Yeah.
And so that's the real key to how people recover and come back from it. And we're all different. We all have to deal with the shock, and sometimes it's like HTC was a grieving process. It truly was, and you could see it if you watched social media and you saw how people were reacting. Ooh. And you saw the different stages of grief.
That Twitter feed, man.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was really, really rough. But it was, now we've gone on to somewhat of an acceptance level. The anger, the bargaining, the disbelief of it was happening in all different ways, all different sides. And some people were getting angry with other people with how they were handling their grief, which was not the best thing to do.
Everyone's handling it totally differently, or they're in a different stage, and it's just not right to restrict that process or comment on someone else's process. It's not right, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be another round of this when we come down to the time when actually HGC would have been starting, which would have been like, late January, like third week of January is usually when it started up. Or when we go to BlizzCon and that it's not going to be there will be waves of this. Things that we would have normally have done, and now it's like the question marks come up and say, well, what will I do at BlizzCon when I'm not sitting at the HGC stage the entire day? And so I mean, there's I know we keep talking about that specific topic, but it applies to anything in your life that has really just kind of rocked your world and changed it to a point where you didn't ask for this change, but you have to deal with it in your own ways. So how am I dealing with this situation as we talk about goals for 2019? And that is that what I've told myself is that dreams and goals can remain goals, can always be there. It's just a matter of, what do you have to do to get there? The path for me, I've done this before. I know I can do it again. is when you're just needing to make ends meet and you have to get a paying job during the day, that you do it on your free time at night and on weekends, and you just double duty it and you work for it. You work so hard for it. Because if it's the thing that you really want, that's the thing that you've got to do. I've done
Yeah.
this before. It worked out for a couple years and then it didn't. And so yeah, like it's just the thing that you have to do. If there's something out there that you're saying, I want this. I want to be this. I want to achieve this, but I can't because of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. Because you're not going to
What
be
can you
fulfilled doing anything else. It's
Right.
always going to
No.
be in the back of your mind.
Yeah, and so what is it going to take for you to get to that point, and what are you willing to do to get there? And I'm not talking about like stealing, murdering shit. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about, if this is what you want so much, then what can you do, and what are you willing to give up to get there? Because there is going to have to be a compromise.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I just and there are going to be things like, I see this sometimes with people who are like, I've had kids and I don't have any more free time and I don't want, but I really want to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, choices are choices, right? You're going to have to decide what it is that is this goal still something you can do? Or is this something that you are going to have to put aside until your children are older, or that your free time becomes more your own?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just, when we talk about goals, it feels to me like sometimes we go with this lofty plan of, I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year and I'm going to become swole AF and I'm going to be hello, hi, biceps, hi.
That's part of my goals, is to actually get in shape too. But
Yeah, okay, so then let's talk about that actually, because um that's a great goal, but
yeah,
what are you gonna do about it?
right. Um, I think like you said, I want to be realistic about it. I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not basing any type of health success off of how much weight I'm going to lose, or how I'm going to look, but I just want to work that into my routine somehow. And my word for 2019 is balance. And
Yes.
I want to find the right balance. I want to find balance in every aspect of my life. And if I can just sneak in that routine of maybe doing a little run, or coming back and using my little free weights bench, for 30 minutes to an hour a few times a week, that will be huge for me in terms of where I go in 2019, to be honest with you. Like, it's just
Yes.
because so much of this year has been a roller coaster and a whirlwind. There's been times where I gave 110% of myself to one area, one specific zone or area, and I've neglected other things. And then I realized I neglected those things, and then I gave 120% of myself to those things. And
Mhm.
it's just, this past year, I've noticed that there are areas and parts of my life that have taken a toll, just because I'm not equally balancing everything at all, because there's so many
Mhm.
different parts of a person. And if they're only embracing one single part, you're hurting other areas of your life and other relationships.
Yeah. And when you have as many moving parts as you do in your life, trying to find balance is a constant it's a constant work. It's a constant looking at, trying to make sure that it does stay in balance and that you stay in balance.
Yeah.
Because as a content creator, one of the things that can happen a lot is that you are giving a ton of yourself. And as I've been streaming quite a bit recently, and really kind of working on that, for 20, kind of building up for 2019, kind of finding my legs,
Yeah.
finding what it works for me. And you give so much of yourself when you stream. And it's the same thing with the podcast too. You give so much of yourself when you stream, that it's this and you get so much back. Like you get so much love and support and fun and laughter and that kind of thing. But my balance to that when I come off of a stream is that I am spent.
Oh
I
yeah.
am exhausted. And um to that point where it's almost like you're physically non-functional for a little bit because you have to just kind of like you've
Yeah.
left everything on the table. You've given all of yourself to these people and entertained them and been with them and been present with them. And then you step out and it's like what now? And I feel so like there's like this it's like I how do I say this? It's like it's an empty space almost that I have to fill back up again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are
No.
you picking up what I'm putting down here?
Oh, like I can't agree with you more. I collapse on the couch after every stream, and
Yeah.
that was something I never considered when I was initially creating my stream schedule. And if I had to do it again, I would have slapped myself in the face. So you can't stream this much, you dummy. You're just not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because I knew when I first started that I wanted to have a high energy, maximum kind of excitement stream, and I wanted it to be like a party every stream. I wanted it to be, I knew I didn't just want to sit in a chair for a few hours and stream. I knew that wasn't going to be the stream. But I didn't factor in how much energy that would actually take to make that stream something that is about getting up and dancing and jumping and kicking and doing all that sort of stuff. And
yeah,
now that I know all of that, and it's like you said, every stream is just, it's over and you collapse, and there's a part of you that's suddenly empty, and you've got to fill it back up with something else to recuperate or get your batteries going again. It's just a spot on.
Yeah, it's this weird phenomenon that I really truly didn't understand until I started to do it. And now that's not to say that after I get done, do I look forward to going back and doing again? Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
I do. I totally
100%.
do. But when you talked about balance, I was like, man, that is going to be the biggest challenge for both of us, is to balance the things that you want to do versus the things that you need to do. And making sure that you have the energy to do it all. And it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
My word for 2019 is rebuild. Is rebuild. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be super not easy, but what I need to rebuild is a financial security level, and to rebuild the future plans of the where it is that I want to be. I know what I want to do, but I don't exactly know what I need to do to get there.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to continue to make content that connects me so strongly with the people that I've been able to connect with. And that's through this podcast. It's through my streams. It's through making a difference in people's lives. And that's going to be, continuing. But then I have to also give 40 hours a week to be able to get to that financial stability again. So it's going to be a tough road. It's going to be a tough road to get there.
Challenging year. It will be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think audiences, you guys are also going to be a part of this journey for both of us, because
that's the beauty of it.
Which is awesome. And the two of us, though we do our own things in terms of streaming, we do this show together as the support system to get us through it.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, I'm a creative streamer. Coffee is a game streamer and an entertainer. But it's this cool kind of thing where we get the same thing out of it. Like there's a community that builds, and there, and that's what I want to do. That's all I wanted to do ever. So So I think that's it from my goals for 2019. How about you? Did you have anything else that you wanted to discuss about things that you were planning on?
Well, I mean, just to build off of what I was saying before, I've never been more committed than I am now to Heroes Hearth. I love this organization, and I want to continue to produce content for the organization and to this channel. And, you know, but that fits into my balance. I want to be able to do that and also, you know, work on my own channel as well, and continue to grow the stream, hopefully grow with Heroes Hearth.
Yeah.
I hope to, at some point this year, achieve Twitch partnership status. That would be great. I know that ties into that whole balance, because, you know, if you're constantly focused on, you know, numbers and viewership and other things, you're not focusing on the important things about a channel, and that is just connecting, communicating, you know, producing the highest quality level of content. If you're constantly playing it safe and worried about numbers for Twitch partnership, you're probably not being the best version of yourself. But it's going to be a balance. I see my goals. I just have to create the plan to get there. Balance every pillar of what I'm doing now, and hopefully this time next year. I mean, the reward for all of this work will be BlizzCon next year. It'll be checking in with everybody and seeing how our 2019 went and what we all achieved, where our journeys and adventures took us.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that. And I can't wait to, you know, in whatever capacity, because Heroes of the Storm will obviously be there, right? Diablo 3 is there. Heroes of the Storm will be there in some shape or form. I can't wait to spend all of my time at that Heroes of the Storm booth and just connect with all of you and all of this amazing community and just chat about this adventure we went on in 2019.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be great.
That is my hope, is that we are going to hit the end of this year setting these goals now and feeling like we've done the things that we needed to do to get to those points, to reach those heights, but also knowing that the path to those are going to probably be a little wiggly and and changing. But for absolute certain, like if anything, the content that I'm making right now, this podcast in particular, like if I have to go back and work a 9-to-5 job to make things more rebuilt, then the show will still continue. It's just gonna have to record at a different time.
Right.
Because we're going to figure those things out. And just the same thing. If heaven forbid, by the time we hit the end of this year and the path that we think is going to take, you know, Heroes of the Storm is going to still be here, but what if it's not? What if if that decision gets made? We're still going to be focused on what it is that we want to do. True. And, you know, and as a community, like, communities can exist without Heroes Hearth could still exist without Heroes of the Storm.
Absolutely.
I don't exactly know what that looks like, but it will, you know, come hell or high water, there will be people that will be like, we're keeping this shit together. So
and that's just one of the reasons I'm so proud to be a part of this organization, and why so much of the fun I have these days in streaming is revolving around streaming to this channel, because what we have here is just a group of some of the most talented and hard-working creative people, and they're just working together and making awesome stuff happen. You know, whether HOTS is part of that or not is one thing, but it's such a fantastic, incredible group that we have here that it just blows my mind. And there will be stuff made in some shape, form, or capacity. There will be awesome things made, and that's a guarantee.
Absolutely. So I think with that, we will leave our goals for 2019 on the table for you, and we will I mean, I fully intend in the end of 2019 to do this kind of show one more time.
Yeah.
And in 2020 we'll do it again. And just keep, that's the long-term plan, is like we'll literally keep coming back to this topic every year because it's relevant, and the messages that we give to you guys.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is, guys, is to just remember that like Jules was saying, she has these goals and she's going to be flexible in the way she achieves those goals. And I think that that's how dreams work. If when you make a dream for yourself, or you have a dream, my dream is to be a performer and to make people laugh. That's just my dream. That's my passion. And that takes so many different forms. And if you have that flexibility, where you have an end goal and you're not necessarily concrete in the way you achieve it, it creates doors and opportunities for you. And especially at a time like this, when we're rebuilding, looking ahead, just remember that and consider all your options, all your doors as you look towards that long-term end goal.
And know that they could change. Know that they can shift, they can rotate, they can step aside for other goals that come in as you're looking forward. Nothing you prove or promise to yourself now is going to be locked in that you must do this now. And
when I first moved to LA, did I dream of becoming a Twitch streamer? No, but it's
who goes to LA to become a Twitch streamer? Come on.
Right, exactly. But I achieve my end dream and goal of performing and making people laugh on Twitch. Even though I'm not starring in the latest comedy coming to a theater near you, I'm so fulfilled right now. I'm more fulfilled than I've ever been in my entire life. Am I still going out and auditioning and reading for certain roles and things like that here and there? Yes. But in the meantime, holy crap, I'm just like the happiest I've ever been in my entire life.
Good.
So dreams change, and you have to be flexible and willing to adapt to that change, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm super glad that you brought that up, because I think it's a really good thing. As you are kind of feeling the pressure, folks, to lay out those plans and tell everybody what your big accomplishments are going to be for 2019, be kind to yourself, please. It's okay if you don't get there. It's okay if you didn't do it this year. It's okay if you feel, I mean, you're going to feel bad. It's okay. It's okay. You can still start again. You can still start now. There you go. So with that, let me give you the little transition info out of this before we go into our little palate cleanser. You can send your thoughts and feedback about this discussion to podcast@heroeshearth.com. And each week we're going to tackle a new topic. We encourage you to send your own to us. Let us know what kind of topics you would like us to talk about. We had some locked in for the last few weeks, but we're topicless after this point.
Did we want to chat about? We had some submissions this week.
Oh yeah, you want to grab one or two?
Yeah,
go for it.
I think that'd be great.
Okay.
Cool. So this one's particularly sounds good to me. So the lovely Midnight Society wrote in and she said, my husband and I got a Gold's Gym, all-in-one gym, and I plan on getting swole like Smoogie. Hats off to Smoogie.
Yay, Smooge.
She also says, I also have goals in fixing up our house and recently bought plane tickets to see Coffee and Coog in March for my goal of finally seeing California.
That's awesome.
That's a beautiful goal. One, she's thinking about her health, which I want to do that as well. Mm-hmm. Two, fixing up the house, bettering yourself, your environment, so you can create better content because what you surround yourself with directly influences the type of art you can make, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And then three, I finally get to squeeze my lovely Midnight Society and show her LA, and hopefully she'll come stay with me and Coog in March. That sounds incredible.
That's awesome. I love it. An 8-Bit Dame said, learning to animate is my first goal of 2019. Getting regular and good sleep. So some of it health related, a lot of it skill related, and finally TwitchCon 2019. There's still some people I need to see for fist bumps. Yes.
Boom, right there.
Boom, right there. I hope that I could make it to TwitchCon. That would be a cool goal. That would be a pretty awesome one. I have not made it to a TwitchCon yet, so can't plan that far ahead quite yet.
That's
but I'm gonna, I'm gonna tick that box to say definitely maybe.
Yep. Smoochie wrote in, aka Juji, aka self-proclaimed trophy husband, wrote in. He said he's got his two main goals. One is he's going to continue with his lifting. Last year he hit the elusive 200 snatch and qualified. Oh, he wants to this year. Hit the 200 snatch and qualify for nationals. So that's his first goal. Two, he wants to maintain a stream schedule because holy crap, yeah, I mean that's even a goal of mine. And he's going to begin working on some YouTube content. So yeah,
nice.
And he says his goals go both hand in hand to an extent, but he's really looking forward to the challenge and growing himself to see what he's really capable of. Hats off to you, Smoochie.
Absolutely. And those submissions were sent to us from podcast@heroeshearth.com. You can do the same if you want to share your goals with us for 2019 or thoughts about this show and everything that we've discussed today, the stuff that we have shared. You can do it all. It's all there. You can just be a part of it. So yeah, we're gonna work on the next question. But if you, we will be recording hopefully again. So we will not be recording the week of New Year's. This is the show that covers that week, and so we'll be returning right after the New Year, the next week, most likely on Monday, but could change. Just keep an eye on all the schedules as we let you know what's happening, and by then we'll have a topic for you guys to contribute to.
Yes. But never be afraid to just email in and tell us anything about your day, anything about what's going on in your life. You can chat about yourself. Absolutely. You can chat about what you heard, what you saw on this channel. Even previous episodes. It's never too late. We just want to hear from you guys in whatever form that takes. So shoot us an email, podcast@heroeshearth.com.
Absolutely. And now we're going to switch gears and do what we call the palate cleanser, which is, you guessed it, tell me a story. Sounds like this. Hey, Coffee, tell me a story. So, yeah, like tell me a story. Tell me anything. Tell me what's on your thing. What's on your thing? Well, hello.
I'll tell you a story. So this past week, I was traveling to Oregon, and that's for my programming and development gig that I have.
Yeah.
I don't have to travel often, but occasionally I will. So I took a flight out of LA to Seattle. From Seattle, I had a layover and a connecting flight to go to Redmond, which is a small airport in Oregon.
Okay.
So we had an issue where my flight to Seattle was delayed, so much so that I missed my flight from Seattle to Redmond. And apparently, I know this happens to tons of people around the holidays, but it's never happened to me. Where they said, "Oops, nothing we can do about it," and they scheduled my next flight, like the next available flight from Seattle to Redmond, but it was the next morning.
Oh, no.
So I spent the night in the airport on a cold Seattle airport bench. Oh. And it really sucked. It sucked so much. But looking at the bright side, there was a cool shop in this. The Seattle airport is huge. There was a cool shop there. It was open late. I think it was called Sub Pop, and I believe it's a record label. And it's a record label based in Seattle. And I went in there and I saw a vinyl record of all of the Bob's Burgers songs. I don't know if you guys watch Bob's Burgers, but it's a very funny cartoon, and my wife really loves that cartoon. So when I was in the shop, I saw a vinyl record with all of these songs, and I thought to myself that would be an incredible gift for Emma. And I made the best of a bad situation, and Emma ended up loving it. It's probably one of the most special gifts she's received, she said. So would not have been possible for it not have been for that night spent on the cold airport Seattle airport bench. But
because you wouldn't have stopped and you wouldn't have gotten that gift from there.
Exactly. I wouldn't have stopped in there. But don't recommend sleeping on an airport bench to anyone. If you were ever considering it, right? If you ever saw an airport bench, you're like, I wonder what it's like to sleep there. Don't do it. Just get on your plane and continue about your journey. Don't sleep on that bench.
Don't do this intentionally is what you're saying.
Right.
I feel so bad for you because then you had to go and work the next day, right? You were supposed to be at this meeting thing.
Little to no sleep. I go into this meeting and do my best to just kind of keep up, and it was tough. My eyes were wanting to close. It was really tough. There were so many people that this happened to, though, that the airport was full. It was just full of people. Like I slept next to a family. Like there was a husband and wife, and they had 3 kids. And I slept next. They were sleeping on another couple benches just to the next. It's just, I know this stuff happens around the holiday time, but I've never seen it or been a part of it. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Oh man, that's hard though. I mean, and I think I talked to you like the next day, and it was just like I finally have like you were so happy to have a bed to sleep in that night.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just like that night at the hotel in Oregon, I just collapsed and I slept for like 12 hours or something like that.
Wow. Oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell a story about since we're kind of looking back at the year, kind of a moment where I took just a step back and kind of took everything in, because this is something that I don't do enough. I'm so much let's hit that goal. Okay, on to the next thing. Like we're gonna, or it's don't rest on your laurels too long kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a moment when we were at BlizzCon, and you were there, and we were at the Con Before the Storm meet and greet. And you were actually standing next to me, and Alex Dids was there too. We were all at the same table. And what I didn't know was that we were actually given our own spots to be met with. I thought that we were all, as Heroes Hearth, just gonna be like grouped up into behind like one big table, and people were gonna be like, "Hey, I want to talk to that one," or I want to get an autograph from that one. But no, it was this really amazing surprise, and this is the first time that I've ever actually been able to do this, where people were coming up to want to see me solo, because I've had tables with Torn Think Tank, but my co-host was there, or Convert to Raid, and my team was there. And so there was a woman who she lives in the EU, and I've never met her in person, but she's been listening to my shows for years. And this year she sent me this wonderful bracelet, a bangle bracelet with a fox on it, like a fox face. And he just wanted me to know how much she appreciated my work. And I knew that she was coming to BlizzCon, and I've never seen her face. I'd never seen what she looked like, except for talking to her on Twitter, and so like doing a chainmail commission order from her. And there was a small line of people that were waiting to speak to me, and as they started to clear past, this woman stepped out in front of me, and I knew exactly who she was. I knew that this was Solo Vala from the EU, and she didn't need to say her name. I just knew. And I just was like, "Oh my gosh, hi." And she hugged me, and she was so nervous, and because this was her first time meeting me, and she just said, "Thank you for everything that you've done." And I'm tearing up thinking about it because it was just this moment where it was so cool to be able to just have someone come to me and tell me that, who had been listening to my work for so long and had been very quiet about it, very, very just supportively, quiet in a supportive way, you know, like just always being there. But it was this special moment where you didn't have to say, this is my name, you know, hi, I'm so and so. Like, we just knew we had this moment. And I haven't spoken about it on any podcast, but it was really super important to me. So that was something that I will cherish from this year for sure. Is that whenever this stuff happens, like this really shitty stuff happens, that's why I do this. That's why I do this. That's why we do this, is because there's those people out there.
Wow.
So yeah, I didn't know where I was. I literally am so unprepared for this stream. I did not know exactly what I was going to say because I'm kind of raw and unfiltered in a lot of ways. So, hi, we cried on this stream again.
The stream is turning into This Is Us.
I know. Welcome to the This Is Us part of Heroes Hearth. Oh my goodness. So for all of you out there who support our work, who support everything that we have done, thank you. And we look forward to 2019 more than you know.
Oh yeah.
Because we're gonna need you. We're gonna need you to be there with us.
It's gonna be a challenging year, but
yes.
If we stay as tight as we did this past year and cement those bonds that we've begun to really form this year, I couldn't be more excited for 2019. It's gonna be an important year because we're gonna see a lot of things solidify and like someone was saying earlier in the chat, we're going to be left with the true members of our communities, I think, by the end of 2019.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so to everyone who is listening to this show, and if you're listening to it before the new year or after, Happy New Year. I hope your 2019 brings you joy and happiness. And if it's bringing you change, that you navigate it with as little pain as possible. Because it is, it's going to be painful for certain things. It's not going to be great for everybody. But as a community, we're going to be here together to weather it no matter what.
Yes. And I hope you guys achieve your dreams as well.
Yes.
Your dreams.
I hope you achieve your dreams as well, sir. I hope that I'll be right alongside you as you do it.
Oh, you will. I'll make sure you are.
Yeah.
You're stuck with me now, Jules.
Hell yeah. We're just going to be we're basically just going to be siblings. It's just going to be the thing
That's it. That's all there is to it.
No, you achieve your dreams.
No,
you says a dame in the chat room, and I can't agree more. And I think that is going to do it for us for this episode. We thank you so much. We're going to play that lovely music to take us out.
Yes.
And I need to turn this down. Hold on. This one there. Here we go.
Want to contact the show? You can email us at podcast@heroeshearth.com. And if you want to connect with us on Twitter, you can find me at coffeeclub_TV. And you can find Jules at JulesRPG. You can also use those handles to follow our personal streams on Twitch as well and get notified when we go live.
You can join us for the live broadcast at twitch.tv/HeroesHearth on Mondays, hopefully at 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, or find us in podcast form on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Pocket Cast, TuneIn, and direct feed. You can do it right there.
If you like this show and like to support the great entertainment brought to you by Heroes Hearth, please consider supporting them on Patreon at patreon.com/HeroesHearth.
Yes, please. They're doing such amazing things. We do appreciate your help. Thank you all for joining us today. And until next time, Happy New Year. We're glad you're here.
Happy New Year, everybody.